Okay, so we're going to go over Gigi's commands to show you how you can stay consistent with her once she goes home. So her first command is heel. This is loose leash walking on our left hand side. So Gigi's supposed to be right there next to us on our left hand side, walking at our pace and paying attention to us. If she walks too far ahead of us, we're going to show you later on how to correct her for those behaviors. But again, right there next to you, this should take up the majority of your walks now. So if you're taking her out in public, walking her around town, you're going to want her right there next to you, paying attention to you. That is heel, or again, loose leash walking. Her next command is a sit stay. So for this one, you're going to ask Gigi to sit. And then if you want her to stay in that sit, you're just going to remind her to sit before you walk away from her. And then you want to go all the way back to her to reward and release her. So you'll ask Gigi to sit. Then she's expected to stay in that sit until you release her. So you'll ask her to sit. Then you can go grab your shoes, your jacket maybe if you're taking her for a walk. Then so when you do that, you'll remind her sit before you go do that. Then you can walk away from her. You'll go all the way back to her, good sit, maybe give her a treat, and then release her by saying free or heel, whatever you wanted her to do next. So that is her sit stay. Her next command is a down stay. So you'll ask Gigi to go into a down. Then, same as the sit stay, you're just going to remind her down before you walk away to go do something. Then you can go do your own thing. Then you'll come all the way back to her, good down, reward her for that, and then release her by saying free or heel, again, whatever you wanted her to do next. So that is down stay. Her next command is a place stay. So you'll send or walk Gigi to place. That's that elevated bed or boundary. Once she's on that bed, you can reward her on the bed, and then you'll just, again, remind Gigi place before you walk away to go do something. Then you can go cook dinner or eat dinner, maybe watch TV at the end of the night or something. And maybe you have people coming over and you know she's going to get excited to see them, so you put her on place. That way she has a little bit of time to calm down, a little bit of time to herself. But that is place stay, so you'll remind her place, then you can go do that or let people in the house. Then once she's calmed down, or when you're done doing whatever you were doing, you'll go all the way back to her, good place, good job, and then release her by saying free or heel, again, whatever you wanted to do next. That big thing about the stays is, again, that reminder of the command that she's in. So sit stay, down stay, or place stay, reminding her of that command before you walk away from her. And then, of course, going all the way back to her to release her from that command. If we release her from a distance, so if she's on place and I tell her free from maybe the doorway, she's going to learn that she can get up when you come in that doorway. Or she's going to learn that, oh, hey, Dad's coming towards me, I'm going to get up. And that'll just let her get up early, and it's going to get her excited every time she sees you. So we want to make sure to keep her calmer and remind her that she has to stay in that stay until we go all the way back to her to reward and release her. So again, sit stay, down stay, place stay, remind her before you walk away, and then you go all the way back to her to reward and release. And then her next command is recall, or come when called. So again, Gigi's out in the yard. I know you worked with this with her a little bit before she got here, but she's out in the yard playing, running around, and you're ready for her to come back to you. You're going to say come. And then I like to take a few steps backwards to welcome Gigi into my space. Make sure she knows that she's not being chased. So take a few steps backwards. You can verbally praise her as she's on her way back. Good girl, good job, Gigi. And then once she's back to you, she's expected to come back to you and sit before you can give her that reward. So once she's back to you and sitting, you can reward her by praise, petting, and treats. And then she's still expected to stay in that sit, same as a sit stay. She's expected to stay in that sit until you release her by saying free again, so that she's free to sniff, or by saying heel when you're ready to leave. So that is come when called or recall. Her last command is leave it. So you drop something on the ground that you don't want Gigi to have, you're going to say leave it. And then if she leaves that, you can again reward her from something in your hand like treats, petting, or praise. For leave it, you want to practice this with dog safe foods first. That way, if Gigi still decides to go towards it, it's okay if she gets it. We don't want her to, but it's not going to put her at any harm if she gets it. So again, practice this with dog safe foods first. Maybe her treats, some hot dogs, chicken, her food, anything like that that is safe for Gigi to have. And then that prepares her for situations where it could be more dangerous things like a pill or medicine or just a liquid that she's not supposed to have, where you can say leave it and she knows that she's not supposed to go towards that. Then we can again reward her from our hand or give her some pets and verbal praise to let her know, hey, you did a good job. So that is leave it. So to repeat all of her commands, her first command is heel. This is loose leash walking on the left hand side. Then we have her stays, sit stay, down stay, and place stay. Then we have recall or come when called and leave it. So those are Gigi's commands. And then we're going to go over her collars a little bit, and then we will show you her doing her commands. So her first collar here is her prong collar. This is going to sit on Gigi's neck like this. And if she does an unwanted behavior, so she's supposed to be back here for that heel. If she maybe starts to go too far ahead of you because she gets excited to see something, or she's not paying attention to you, to correct her for that behavior, you're going to say no. Then we're going to follow through with a correction. So we say no to give her a warning like, hey, you did an unwanted behavior. Now I'm going to follow through with a correction. Then we're going to give her that correction. That correction with her prong collar is going to be a quick pop and release. Just a quick pop and release. We don't pop and keep pressure on it. We just do quick pop and then we relax it again. So we'll say no, give her that pop and release, and then remind her what she's supposed to be doing. So we say no to give the warning, then we follow through with the correction, which is the pop and release, and then we remind her heel so she knows that she's supposed to come back here. Same for the rest of her commands. So for a sit stay, no, pop and release, sit. For down stay, no, pop and release, down. For recall, maybe you have her on a long leash and she's not coming back to you, no, pop and release in your direction, and then remind her come. If she gets off of her place bed, no, pop and release towards the place bed, place. If she goes towards something and you're practicing leave it, and maybe you have her leash on in the house, you're going to say no, give her a quick pop and release away from the item that you've dropped, and then remind her leave it. So that is her prong collar. This goes on her and off of her by taking a link apart. So I like to hold one steady, and then I grab onto the other one and I pull up until they come apart. And then to get these back together around Gigi's neck, you'll put one side in, you'll pinch them together, and you'll slide that second one in. So that is how to get her prong collar on and off of her, and how to correct her with that. And then the remote collar, I know you've already had this with her, so you're a little bit familiar with it. But to turn it on and off, there is a red dot on your collar, and there is a matching red dot on your remote. You'll tap those two together to see that green light flash. Now her collar is on. To turn her remote on the back of this remote is that black L button in the center. You're going to press and hold that until your screen lights up. Now both the remote and the collar are turned on. On the side of her remote here is a black T button. That's the button I like to press. That's a vibrate feature. I just press that to make sure that her collar and remote are both turned on. Then on the side of her remote here is that black S button. That is Gigi's correction level. Her correction level is right now currently at 40. So I'm going to use my hand as Gigi's neck really quick. And if Gigi does an unwanted behavior, so she's back here healing and she gets too far ahead of you, we're going to say no. Then to give her that warning, same as the prong collar, we'll say no. Then we're going to follow through with our correction, which is the black S button, and then we can remind her heel. You'll see there it made my hand twitch a little bit, but it's not hurting me in any way. So we'll say no, press the black S button, and then we'll remind her what she's supposed to be doing. So that is how to correct her with the remote collar. You can use that same way for the rest of her commands. If she gets up from a sit stay, no, black S button, sit. Same for her down stay or place stay, no, down, or no button down, no button place. So it's always no to give that warning. Then we follow through with our correction, whether that's the black S button on the remote or a quick pop and release of the prong collar. And then we remind her of the command that she's in. So that is her commands and a quick overview of her collars. Make sure to have fun with her and stay consistent. And now we're going to show you her commands. Good down. Good down. Good down, Gigi. Good down. Free. Good job. Leave it. Yes. Okay. Free. Okay. Gigi. Gigi. Leave it. Yes. Leave it. Yes. Okay. Free. And do one more. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Yes, good girl. Leave it. Good. Okay. Good girl, Gigi. Good girl. Good girl. Heel. Place. Good girl. Good place. Place. Good place. Place. Good place. Place. Good place. Good girl. Good place. Good girl. Good place. Free? Okay, so now that we've gone over and shown you Gigi's commands, I'm just going to go through the remote collar a little bit more to make sure that you're familiar with everything. So the black S button is her correction level. Again, that is level 40. Under that black S button is the red S button. This is now Gigi's boost feature or emergency feature. So if you don't have her on a leash and maybe you open the door, somebody else opens the door, and Gigi darts out for some reason and is running towards the road, she's putting herself in a dangerous situation, we need to get her attention right away. That way she comes back to us. Instead of pressing the black S button to correct her, we're going to now press the red S button. You'll see the black S button is level 40, but the red S button is level 80. That is a super high level that Gigi has not felt before. So for her, that's going to be a high level, and that's going to get her attention right away. So instead of pressing the black S button in a situation like that where she's running and putting herself in a dangerous situation and we need to get her back immediately, we're going to press the red S button repeatedly until we get her attention and call her back to us. So that is her boost feature or emergency feature. I have not had to use that on Gigi, so she has not felt that level yet. On the opposite side of the remote, again, is that black T button, which is the vibrate feature. That vibrates the collar. I just like to use it to make sure my collar and remote are both turned on and working properly, but that can be used as a warning in the future for Gigi. If she's been doing really well for you, you don't want to give her a full correction. You can use that vibrate feature to kind of warn her and say, hey, you're doing an unwanted behavior. If you continue to do it, then you're going to get a correction, but this is your warning to knock it off. On the back of this remote is that black L button in the center. If we press and hold that, that turns her collar on, or that turns the remote on and off. If we just tap that though, that is going to turn her flashlight feature on and off. So tap it to turn your flashlight feature on and off, press and hold it to turn the remote on and off. Then next to that is the M/C button that changes her remote and collar from momentary to continuous. She's on momentary right now and should not need that continuous, so we should not need to mess with that button anymore. Under that is the charging port. On the front of the collar here we have her screen, and under that we have this little bar that flashes green every couple seconds to let you know that her collar is on and charged. Then at the top here we have the antenna and the dial. The dial you'll see right now does not change her level on the screen. If we need to change that, we're going to have to unlock the dial now. So we're going to press and hold that button to change her level. So she's at 40. If maybe you get her home and she's being a little pushy one day, she needs a little bit higher of a level, we can turn her up to 45. If she's been being really good for you and maybe she's flinching too much at level 40, then we would turn her down to 35 and try doing that. But her current level right now that's been working for her both here and on her field trips was 40. So now I'm going to lock that in place on level 40 to make sure we don't accidentally change her level to either too low or too high for her. So it's at 40. I'm going to press and hold this dial down until that number locks, and now that cannot change again. So that is her remote. Then on her collar here we have her strap, and then we have this bar right here that flashes green every couple seconds to let you know that the collar is on and charged. If either this or the one on the remote flash yellow or red, that just means that they need charged for a little bit. Next to that's the small red dot that we use to turn the collar on. Under that we have her prongs. She's on her short prongs right now. We do have longer ones in the box for her. She should not need those longer prongs though. And again, we have the charging port here underneath her collar. Gigi can get wet and go swimming with this collar on. It is waterproof. We just want to make sure that if she goes swimming with it on, that we take it off of her and dry her off really well afterwards to make sure that these prongs don't make contact with the water and cause damage to her skin. And then if you're going to use that flashlight feature, I like to make sure that the part that's blinking is facing up towards Gigi's head to make sure that when you use the flashlight, you can see it and it's not being hidden in her hair. So that is the collar. On this box here on the back of it, we have a 2-year warranty included with the collar, so that number and email that you can contact is on the back of the box here. Inside her box, we have her charger. Both can be charged at the same time. And then we also have those longer prongs and the tool to change those if needed. And underneath all of that, there is the instruction manual here in the box as well. So those are the features of her remote collar. She can wear this all day. So first thing in the morning when you get up with her, you can put it on. And then last thing before you put her to bed at night, you can take it off. We usually say 10 to 12 hours a day, but again, that is when you get up with her in the morning, you put it on her, and when you take it off of her at night before you put her up for bed. The prong collar, on the other hand, though, we want to make sure that's only on her when you are with her. So if you're taking her for a walk, if she's in the house with you and you are with her, keeping an eye on her, she can have it on. But if she's going to go in any sort of crate or be left alone for any period of time, we want to make sure to take that prong collar off of her so that it doesn't get caught on anything. But those are the features of her remote collar and her prong collar. We want to make sure to be firm with Gigi. If she does an unwanted behavior, we want to be sure to correct her for that. But if she's being good, she's doing wanted or calm behaviors, we want to be sure to reward her for that. And then we want to make sure to be consistent with Gigi. So it takes 4 to 6 weeks for a dog to learn a behavior. Gigi has been here for 4 weeks. She knows all of her commands. She knows the behaviors that are desired. But then it takes 4 to 6 months for dogs to have long-term memory. So for these commands to be long-term memory, where we can take a little break and she's still going to remember them. So right now we want to be really consistent with Gigi. We want to make sure that she has her rules, but she knows that she gets paid for doing a good job. She gets rewarded for those when, again, she does a good job. So we want to be sure to have fun with her, but also be consistent.